right now.
Hey there, good morning. It is Friday, January 13th. We put the January in the middle to break up that whole Friday the 13th thing.
It's okay. You don't have to be superstitious about it.
No, we're having a good morning.
Day. Yeah, we've had a good day so far, and today's the Spurs 50th. So let's get over to Justin to see how the weather will be for all of those activities.
Should be great. Some people are going to be walking to the Alamo Dome tonight, depending on where you got to park. So the weather
could be a long walk for some folks.
Yeah.
Could be. The weather's going to be really nice, actually. We'll see great weather this afternoon. It was a little chilly this morning, I'll tell you. Some places did get down below freezing. Let's look at the numbers. Here in San Antonio, it was 36. But if you were up around Bernie Stage, 32. And look at Port SA. They're on the west side of San Antonio, recording 31. If you did get down below freezing, it was likely brief. Other than Kerrville, you got down to 26 this morning. So yes, there were some freezing numbers, and it's going to be cold again coming up tomorrow morning. Right now, we're already warming up at a pretty quick clip. 45 northwesterly winds at about 7, so there is still a bit of a wind chill. That won't be there for much longer. Dew point is at 27. In your pollen count, mountain cedar dropped a little bit today. We were surprised by that, but it's a happy surprise. 5,080, the current reading. Molds are low at 420. That, too, is down. Your KSAT 12-hour forecast, 50 at 10 o'clock, 56, 11 a.m., 59 noontime. We're up into the mid-60s this afternoon. Sunny skies, light winds, pretty gorgeous day. And we'll put that on repeat again tomorrow. Things changed a little bit by Sunday. We got a little more moisture, maybe some fog, too, and then some small rain chances coming up on Wednesday of next week. More on that in just a bit, guys.
Thank you, Justin. Let's look out there with TransGuide. Doesn't appear that we have any problems at this hour. Not too bad, at least. There are 3 stalled vehicles around town. That's probably one of them right there at I-35 at AT&T Parkway. But as far as major traffic issues, it doesn't appear like we have any. And there's some a little slowdown.
Normal slowdowns coming in.
Exactly, at I-10 at Frio, and things are moving at I-37.
And that's where the upper and lower merge coming into downtown.
Yes.
Here's today's 9 at 9. Lisa Marie Presley died yesterday after she was rushed to the hospital after suffering from cardiac arrest. The only daughter of the legendary Elvis Presley was just 54 years old. Her exact cause of death is yet to be confirmed. She leaves behind 3 daughters.
Parts of the South are assessing the damage after a deadly tornado. The severe weather racing across the deep South has now turned deadly in Alabama and in Georgia. Things are starting to get nasty again on the West Coast as another major storm is expected to hit California tomorrow.
A special counsel is now investigating the classified documents found in 3 separate locations from President Biden's time as vice president. More documents were found at the president's home in Delaware yesterday. That discovery comes days after Attorney General Merrick Garland announced classified records were discovered at a private office Biden once used.
The FAA software that caused thousands of flight delays and cancellations on Wednesday is 30 years old, and beyond its advanced age, sources say the software was at least 6 years away from being upgraded. Now, Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg is pushing the FAA to move faster than its planned timeline to upgrade the database.
An investigation has been launched into the Biden administration's withdrawal from Afghanistan in 2021. The chairman of the House Foreign Affairs Committee requested a vast number of documents from the State Department yesterday. The Afghanistan investigation is just one of many of the Biden administration that House Republicans are pushing for.
The IRS has officially set January 23rd as the start of the 2023 tax season. That is the first day the agency will begin accepting and processing 2022 returns. Normally, the filing deadline is April 15th, but this year, that's a Saturday, and the following Monday is a holiday in District of Columbia. So this year, the filing deadline is Tuesday, April 18th.
Bed Bath & Beyond announcing it will close another 62 stores on top of the dozens announced in September. This comes amid talks of filing for bankruptcy protection that brings the total number of store closures to 120. Right now, it doesn't appear that any San Antonio retail locations are part of the ones closing down.
Maybe this Friday the 13th will be lucky for someone. The Mega Millions drawing is tonight, and the jackpot has soared to an estimated $1.35 billion, the second largest in the lottery's history. There hasn't been a Mega Millions winner since October. The chance of winning are 1 in nearly 303 million.
Today is the day Spurs fans have been waiting for, the Spurs' 50th anniversary game at the Alamo Dome. More than 65,000 people are expected to attend, so be sure to arrive at the Dome early to avoid traffic troubles. The doors open at 4:30 p.m. and the game tips off at 6:30. We have everything you need to know if you're attending the game on KSAT.com. And that's today's 9 at 9. In your morning headlines, new details concerning the husband of that woman in Massachusetts missing since earlier this month, and 2 Trump organizations getting hit with some serious punishment.
Plus, time's running out to enroll in the government health care plan and a change in one of the celebrations for the Madden NFL 23 game. Let's go ahead and check in with our David Sears. Good morning.
Morning.
The interesting story about this Madden change in the NFL game, because you know these guys have celebrations in the end zone, and then of course the Madden game has the same kind of celebrations for their guys who play. So this is an interesting story. We'll have that for you in just a second, but let's talk about this. There are some new details about the husband of the missing Massachusetts mom, Anna Walsh. Brian Walsh was arrested on Sunday. He was charged with misleading investigators. In a 2014 incident report filed in Washington, D.C., Anna Walsh told police that someone threatened to kill her and her friend. A police spokesperson confirmed that that someone was Brian Walsh. He was that person involved, but the case was closed because the victim, Anna, refused to cooperate with the prosecution. And then back on January 4th, the mother of the 3 was reported missing by her workplace. Brian Walsh told police he last saw his wife on January 1st when she left for a flight to go to Washington, D.C. But investigators say that the information they gave him was intentionally false. That timeline was not accurate, and that's why he got arrested. Detectives also found blood and a bloody knife in the family's basement, as well as a hacksaw and blood that was on a nearby trash facility. Brian has pleaded not guilty. He's being held on a $500,000 bond. He is set to appear in court on February 9th. All right, the punishment for 2 former President Donald Trump companies set to be announced today. The companies found guilty of running a 15-year tax fraud scheme where top execs failed to report and pay taxes on compensation. Those companies are the Trump Corporation and the Trump Payroll Corporation. They were found guilty of 17 felonies. They are looking at a $1.6 million fine. The former president and his family were not charged. Earlier this week, Trump Organization's longtime chief financial officer, Alan Weisselberg, was sentenced to 5 months in jail. If you get your health insurance through the Affordable Care Act and you have not enrolled yet, you have until Sunday to get that done. So far, a record 16 million people have signed up since November. More than 1 million are new to the program. And one of the reasons why? The decrease in the price after federal enhancements. Some plans are less than $10 a month. So sign up. Hey, if you're an NFL fan, you know players are always coming with new ways to celebrate in the end zone. Yes, even the Madden NFL game has celebrations, but one of them is being eliminated from the game. The touchdown celebration that imitates CPR. Now gone. The creator of the game decided to eliminate it after Damar Hamlin suffered that cardiac arrest on the field. Some players actually did that celebration just last week where they imitate giving CPR. More than likely, you'll see that go away on the field as well as in the game. Hamlin, of course, recovering from that cardiac arrest at home. Although you kind of think maybe they can figure out a way to praise those guys that got out there and really saved Hamlin's life, but just a generic celebration, which kind of, was like, hey, we got to give our guy CPR because, we just scored a touchdown or whatever. I can see that going away.
It's got to be a way for the trainer and the first responders.
Because those guys were true heroes on the field saving Hamlin's life. And you mentioned the Alamo Dome?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
We're going to talk about that coming up in the next half hour. We could spend a whole hour just talking about the history of the Spurs in the Alamo Dome.
I know we could, and it would be entertaining. I always love our chats between newscasts because you're always full of great stories. You've got some good ones about this one, too.
Yes, you do.
We'll talk about that coming up.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you.
All right, 9:07, 45 degrees still ahead on GMSA at 9.
NASA and the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration just released their latest climate report, and we're speaking with a climate scientist about where 2022 stands in the record books and looking ahead to what's in store for this year. Plus,
Medina Valley High School students are giving back on this beautiful day, from landscaping projects to painting projects, what they're doing here at the Chamber of Commerce and what it means to them next.
9/11 on a Friday. Hundreds of Medina Valley High School students are participating in a day of community service, from landscaping to cleaning and volunteering their time to other services.
Tiffany Huertas joins us from Castroville with a look at the projects for You Make a Difference Day. Good morning, Tiffany.
Good morning, Mark and Stephanie. The sun is out. It's just a perfect day to give back. Students are going to be at a nursing home. They're going to be at a park. And here at the Chamber of Commerce, take a look right now. They're hard at work. This is all about giving back. Today, we have Medina Valley High School teacher, Mr. Russell Schweitzer, joining us. Good morning. Talk to us about what today means and what are they doing here?
Well, today is giving back to our community. We have no shortage of students that are willing to give back at Medina Valley High School. And our administration has been challenging us to get our students out in the community and make a difference. Today here, we've brought our students out here to the Chamber of Commerce to do some landscaping and pull out some fencing and just make it a more beautiful place for our community members to attend. And the only reward that these students are going to be getting today is knowing that they've had did a good job and, gave back to their community. So
a lot of important, valuable messages and tools here. Now, Student Council was behind this project, and we have two Student Council members, Manuel and Ashton. Good morning to both of you. Manuel, let's start. How did Student Council come up with this idea?
So at Medina Valley, one of the major mottos that we have is citizenship and having everything be purpose-based and meaningful. And so we decided to give back to the community and help others in that way.
Ashton, what does it mean to you and what does it mean to other students here?
It means a lot to us because we work year-round to build a culture of excellence. And to us, it's so much more than just high academic achievement and extracurriculars. It's about building that relationship with the community and giving back to those who give to us.
What other projects are happening today?
Yes, so currently we have 500 kids out and working right now. One act play is at Lacoste Elementary, and they are doing theater things. At the Castroville Regional Park, we have football kids helping out there, and baseball went to the pony fields, softball went to the pony fields. At the nursing home and at Bell Creek Acres, there is FFA members there. So there's a lot going on today.
And I'm thinking this will continue for many more years because the excitement, and you can really tell from the looks of them, just the moment they stepped out, they were ready to get to work. But we're going to have more coming up now on the noon show. But for now, check it out. Take a look at all these amazing students from Medina Valley High School.
A lot of participation. Thank you, Tiffany.
Busy day out in Castroville, and it's gorgeous. Look at that.
It's really pretty with the sun. Well, it's still chilly, 45 degrees.
Yeah, it is, but it's warming up. And I mean, days like this, we don't get these very often in San Antonio. Kind of the chilly morning, it's January. You know, we would expect some cold mornings and beautiful afternoons. I mean, we're hitting a great stretch here. And we've got some pretty good weather coming up this weekend, too. I want to start, though, with what happened yesterday. Very sad day there across parts of Alabama and Georgia. We had several tornadoes, some of them long track tornadoes. 35 reports, in fact, and unfortunately at least 7 fatalities from these tornadoes stretching from Alabama into Georgia. There was widespread damage, including around the city of Selma, where there was a large tornado that touched down. And the reports, again, spread east through the night. There is less severe weather today. That's the good news. That line has progressed into parts of Florida, and it looks like this line is fairly weak. We're not going to see much more with this as it moves off the coast. But it has been kind of a busy winter when it comes to severe weather across the country. Not here, but across the southeast especially, with everything that's going on. So I want to look at the bigger picture here across the country. And I think what you'll notice is that Texas is really sitting pretty right now. You got some active weather out west, active weather across the east, that storm system exiting, but not before putting down some snow. And there's some lake effect snow going on. But we're sitting right in the middle of all this where skies are clear and it is really, really nice. West Coast is going to hit again with more heavy rain. There will be more flooding today from San Francisco and points north. Meantime, our dew points are in the 20s right now. It's been pretty dry here around Texas. You see those numbers in the 20s in a lot of spots. So it is the dry air is going to stick around, that's for sure. Let's go outside for you right now. And we've got 45 degrees at the airport. Northwesterly winds at about 7. Dew point, as we showed you, at 27. And here's the forecast for today. By noontime, we're in the 50s, close to 60. And I think we top out at 65 this afternoon. really nice. 62 Bernie, 64 Kerrville, 66 in Pearsall. It was cold this morning. It'll be cold again tomorrow morning. The temperatures fall back down into the 30s, 36 here in San Antonio. But another freeze possible in places like Bandera and Kerrville, Bernie, where you could briefly get down to freezing yet again tomorrow morning. Dew point trend. Yes, the dew points are low right now. They'll be low again tomorrow, but they kick back up a little bit on Sunday. I think that's going to lead to some patchy fog Sunday morning. Then we get a weak frontal boundary coming through on Monday. Doesn't do a whole lot, drops dew points off a little bit. I really don't think it'll have a huge impact on our forecast. And then we see the dew points build again until we get into Wednesday. That'll be our next chance of rain before another front comes through and drops the dew points again. As we look at the futurecast here, again, pretty great weather over us over the weekend. A little bit of a ridge building in. But here comes the next system. This is the one that brings in the weak frontal boundary on Monday. It's so far north that it's just not going to have a lot of push to push that front through. So even if it does briefly come through, it's not going to close down at all. Maybe just dry us out a little bit. But here comes the next system, and this one digs a little bit further south, perhaps a little bit stronger, and that's why I think we do have some rain chances. Small rain chances, but rain chances nonetheless, coming up on Wednesday of next week. And this does show some of those showers potentially moving in. Frontal boundary, there'll be some snow behind it. For us, it's only 20% chance. We're on the tail end of things. How many times have we said that? Tail end of things where it's just, there's not as much lift. But hopefully we get a little bit of something as we get into Wednesday morning, maybe Wednesday afternoon. We'll keep you posted. Here's the extended forecast. 67 Saturday, 74 on Sunday. We will get some morning fog, maybe a few more clouds on Sunday with the added humidity. Then on Monday for MLK Day, everything looking good. The March looks good, 79 degrees, partly cloudy. 80 on Tuesday, probably our warmest day, and then a small chance of a shower, mainly Wednesday morning, I think, as that front comes through, and then it does cool down some as we get into the latter part of next week, guys.
Thank you, Justin. Landfills across America are filling up with so much waste generated by packaging.
As ABC's Ginger Z reports, some states are turning to new regulations to encourage more recyclable manufacturer packaging.
When it comes to plastic, the U.S. is the most wasteful country per capita in the world. Our takeout and obsession with single-use plastic is accumulating quickly, and most of it is not recyclable.
We generate a tremendous amount of waste as a country, and as a result, landfills are filling up.
Most landfills in the U.S. are near 70 to 80% of their total capacity, according to the Pew Charitable Trusts. And get this, a recent report from Greenpeace shows that American households made 51 million tons of plastic waste in 2021, and less than 5% of that was recycled. To fix this heaping problem, some states have enacted new laws which incentivize manufacturers to make their packaging recyclable.
Is to place responsibility for the generation of waste on the companies that produce it, or at least have them bear some more of the responsibility.
Like in Maine, where beginning in 2026, the state will force producers to pay fees based on the amount and recyclability of their packaging. The fees collected will go directly to municipalities for reimbursement of waste management costs, as well as recycling infrastructure improvements and programs. The best way to get rid of plastic waste? Don't buy it in the first place. With this Climate Minute, I'm Ginger Z.
Time right now, 9:19 and 47 degrees. Oops, forgot about that part. I skipped right past your tag. I'm sorry.
It's okay. A big presence is expected at this year's 36th annual Martin Luther King Jr. March, but not so many people are expected to attend an event happening tomorrow to kick off Dream Week. What one bishop in San Antonio says the reason behind that is.
It's exactly 9:23. Welcome back. Organizers are excited to have the Martin Luther King Jr. March in person again this year, and thousands are expected to attend coming up on this Monday morning.
Yet only about 700 people are expected at a Dream Week event tomorrow that will honor the civil rights leader in its own way.
KSAT 12's Jesse DeGoyata tells us how and why the Freedom Walk started last year.
Virtually honoring Martin Luther King Jr. wasn't enough for those who took part in the first Freedom Walk last year.
Wanted to do something live and in person with people who had a mind to do so.
Bishop Charles Flowers leads San Antonio Black, White, and Brown, the nonprofit that organized the walk. He says it also seemed to him the MLK March had become too political and leaning to the left.
I've seen that it has taken on those kind of characteristics.
But Dwayne Robinson, who chairs the Martin Luther King Jr. Commission, told us, quote, "Everyone has their opinion. The size of our march speaks for itself and it is growing," end quote.
Those who want to keep doing what they were doing, they're free to do it.
Flowers says along the same 2-mile route as the march, the Freedom Walk this year will reenact civil rights milestones. At Lincoln Park, the Emancipation Proclamation. At Second Baptist Church, the churches who spoke out during the struggle for civil rights, often with deadly consequences. The bloody Sunday confrontation on the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Selma will be remembered on the Commerce Street Bridge, concluding at MLK Park with words of inspiration by religious leaders.
Our intention is just to refocus on the life and on the message of Dr. King.
Jesse Degollado, KSAT 12 News.
All right, so VIA is giving free rides to the 36th annual MLK March on Monday. The free service will be from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. at two locations.
And you can catch a ride at the Freeman Coliseum on East Houston Street in Lot 1 and at St. Philip's College on Martin Luther King Drive, Lot 22. So for the return service, buses will drop off passengers to their original pickup location from noon to 3 p.m. And again, this is all happening on Monday. And I was telling Mark earlier that in years past, we've always had cold or rainy or cold and rainy weather. And it looks like, Justin was saying that things might work out for this year's festivities.
And we hope it does for sure. If you're new to our metro area, San Antonio has one of the largest MLK marches in the entire country. So I don't know where we're probably in the top 2 or 3 for sure.
We're up there
as well.
All right. For now, it's 9:25 and 48 degrees for now. There's more ahead on GMSA at 9.
Including a look back at the good old times in the Alamo Dome as we get you ready for the Spurs' 50th anniversary game tonight.
We are looking forward to that. And also before that, Justin is going to be speaking with a NASA climate scientist about the recent global temperature report released and how the changes experts are seeing will impact us and society.
And checking TransGuide right now, we've been pretty lucky this morning. We have not had a whole lot of big problems. When the morning commute is over, traffic is looking great, beautiful road conditions around town. It's going to be very, very busy tonight. That last shot was at 37 and Cesar Chavez. There's I-35 at Rittiman Road. All we've had in the last 26 minutes or so is a few stalled vehicles in different spots around town, but all were located on interstates, not affecting, causing big lane blockages. Welcome back. There's some good news when it comes to our planet. That hole that was discovered back in the ozone layer in the 1980s is apparently on track to heal in the coming decades.
This comes after harmful chemicals have been phased out. Our Sarah Costa spoke with a local environmental science professor about what this means and what still needs to be done to continue to heal our planet.
Check out this video. NASA shows us the hole in the ozone layer over Antarctica and how it slowly grew larger over time from the 1980s. But now a new scientific report from the United Nations says that hole is actually shrinking and is on track to recover to 1980 levels by the year 2040. And in the most damaged areas by 2066.
This is a really good example of how we can make a global issue a challenge, but a success.
Dr. Kim Jones teaches environmental science at UIW. He explains that the reason for the recovery of the ozone layer is thanks to harmful chemicals known as CFCs, being phased out due to the cooperation of countries across the globe during the Montreal Protocol that took effect in 1989. Most importantly, the ozone layer protects not just us, but all our plants.
Agriculture and plant materials would be negatively impacted, and that would be a global catastrophe.
Jones says there is still a lot more work to be done when it comes to combating global warming and protecting our planet. For example, the chemicals that replace those CFCs that were phased out.
Those don't damage the ozone layer, but it turns out they're very powerful greenhouse gases, about 2,000 times more powerful than carbon dioxide as a greenhouse gas.
Greenhouse gases that cause global warming, which contribute to the harmful impacts of climate change. Jones is hopeful that the shrinking of the hole in the ozone layer shows we can come together across the world and do the same to combat global warming.
This example that you're bringing up is a success. Why can't we do the same thing with some of these greenhouse gases?
Sarah Costa, KSAT 12 News.
Let's look out there with a live cam. Still a little chilly, 49 degrees, but the sun's out, so that's good news. It's going to be a pretty day.
It is shaping up to be an awesome day. The blue skies, I mean, that's as blue as they get. So beautiful. We've had a cold start, yes, but it's going to turn into a really nice afternoon. I want to show you a picture here on our KSAT Connect. Doesn't get much better than this. Look at the colors in that. This was taken, it looks like downtown San Antonio. Some crepuscular rays going on there. Love it. Love it. Love the colors. We got a lot of great pictures of the sunrise this morning. We'll try to share a few more. We appreciate you sending that in. Let's go outside for you. And right now we're sitting at 45 degrees at the airport. Mostly sunny skies, northwesterly winds at about 7. So there is still a little bit of a wind chill. That will improve. Temperatures should jump up above 50 here fairly soon. So here's your KSAT 12-hour forecast. 59 noontime. Sunny skies. We're up around 65 for high. A little bit later today, you should see light winds all day long. Now, it will get cold again tonight, and temperatures will be quick to drop off once we get into the evening. We'll probably start out tomorrow morning back in the 30s. A lot of places may be close to freezing, probably not below here in town, but outside of San Antonio, that is definitely a possibility. Okay, we're going to switch gears here a little bit, and for decades, NASA and NOAA, or the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, have been keeping careful watch on the Earth's changing climate. Each year, they release an update to the hottest years on record, and yesterday, they added 2022 to the books. They keep an eye on things like greenhouse gases and track potential climate solutions. Here to talk about that work and where 2022 lands in the records is NASA climate scientist Allegra LeGrand. Good morning to you. We appreciate you joining us this morning. And here's the first question we have for you. So NASA and NOAA have just released the global temperature data for 2022. Where does it rank for hottest years on record?
That's right. So we just released our analysis of global temperatures for 2022, and at 0.89 degrees Celsius, that's about 1.7 degrees Fahrenheit. It's a statistical tie for fifth warmest year since we started keeping track of these things in 1880. And it's a statistical tie 2022 with 2015.
Interesting. So fifth, ranks fifth. Okay, so 2022 is part of a much larger climate record. How do the changes you're observing impact people in society?
So that's right. So of the instrumental period since 1880 till today, 9 of the 10 hottest years were actually in this last decade. And what that means is that it's not just randomly that last year was the fifth hottest, that last year was one of the top 10 hottest is a foregone conclusion. It's going to happen again in 2023 and 2024, where we're always finding that it's one of the 10 hottest years of the record. That means that climate has actually changed. And when temperatures are actually warmer, that means everybody is feeling the impacts of that. So it's a really different climate today than what it was like when I was a kid. Those could mean like more extreme heat days. You could have more extreme amounts of rainfall, and just weather that's not really what you were accustomed to, or what your city was designed to deal with.
Yeah, we just saw some video there of potentially like a hurricane. So you could be seeing more rain or heavier rain with these hurricanes, right? Maybe a little bit stronger.
So because the atmosphere is warmer, it can actually hold more water. And that means when we do get rainfall, we can get more massive amounts of rain because the atmosphere is simply warmer, and so it can hold more water. And so you can expect more extreme rainfall, not just from hurricanes, but just from regular storm systems moving across the country. Or if you're on the coastline, it doesn't have to be a hurricane. Everyone's probably heard about California being inundated by atmospheric rivers. All kinds of clouds and convective storm systems are going to be dropping more rain because the air just holds more water than it used to.
Interesting stuff. And last question here. NASA and NOAA launched new satellites to help study Earth this year. How do their satellites help us to understand what's going on with the climate and weather?
So, to get a picture of what's happening around the entire world, you really want that satellite coverage, which takes a step back and gives you not just point measurements from someone sitting in San Antonio, someone sitting in New York. There's a big gulf of space in between where you still want to have really accurate data. The satellites give us that accurate data, give us a global perspective in space, and also some continuity through time so that we can really have our finger on the pulse of what's going on with global climate. Satellite instruments are extremely important to understanding the world around us.
And I think that's going to tell us a lot about the future and where we're headed with all this. NASA climate scientist Allegra Legrand, we appreciate you joining us this morning, and we appreciate your time.
Thanks so much for having me.
All right, Justin, Allegra, thank you very much. Right now, 9:37, 49 degrees. You're watching GMSA at 9.
When we come back, we are taking a trip down memory lane as we get ready for the Spurs' 50th anniversary game.
$9:40. Well, there's a little party going on tonight at the Alamo Dome.
Very exciting.
Just a little party. The Spurs are actually playing.
Oh, yeah. We forgot that part.
Well, you know, that
forgot
too.
there's a game between the Spurs and the Golden State Warriors tonight.
So do you think Golden State?
I'm all right.
You think Golden State knows what they're walking into?
Yeah, I think they probably do. Well, because Steve Kerr was actually here for the '99 championship,
Yes.
so he knows exactly what he's walking into. So yeah, and then the big celebration about being back in the dome. Mixed emotions about it. Number one, I would have loved to have seen him put it back the way it was when the Spurs played in there, but I get the fact that they want to have as many people in there as they can to celebrate. So that's a great thing. So I'm kind of like, I'd like to see it the old way with the curtain hanging down.
Do they still have the curtain, you think, lying around somewhere?
Probably somewhere.
I'm sure it's there.
That's a big curtain.
I wonder if it's got some mildew on it.
Probably.
I'm sure.
Probably so.
In the back. And then opening, now there's the court going down for tonight's game. But then they start talking about memories, and it's like, oh, man, I can't tell you how many nights I spent in the Alamo Dome covering the Spurs.
Yeah,
so
man.
many.
I mean, and you got some great stories. What's one that comes to mind about Spurs being at the Dome?
Well, the first night they were in there, the cannon went off. The water cannon went off. You remember that? And flooded the whole place.
Oh, whoa.
You don't remember the water cannon?
I don't.
Explain that. What is? How does
the
that
water? It's
kind of a fire suppression system.
Yeah, it's a fire extinguisher. It's just like, in your ceiling, you've got the sprinklers.
But these are literally cannons.
These are literally cannons.
And something triggered it, and they went off, and then it was like they didn't know how to turn it off.
Yeah, I was spraying players. It was spraying the court. It was spraying fans. And so it's on that second level, right?
Yeah.
And so it was coming over, and it was in the end zone, but it was coming over, and the fans were soaked.
Yeah. That was before social media.
Yeah. Social media would have
social
tore that.
media did not have that.
And I mean, there's just so many.
Aww.
That right there is a great picture. Sean Elliott and More Day Miracles, what we always remember. That's one of the biggest memories there. But there was the Spurs had the best record in the NBA. They played the Rockets, and they lost 2 games here in the playoffs. They went to Houston and won those 2 games here, came back and lost, and then went to Houston and lost. And then there was the championship they won. There was the Dennis Rodman days. I mean, Dennis Rodman. I mean, there's a whole 3 chapters on Dennis Rodman.
Here's one for you, Justin. I don't know if you heard David this morning, but it's worth bringing up. David said that venue was so big and it was so off because they put the curtain across the middle that it would throw off the shooting of opposing teams when they first came to that venue for a while.
Yeah, because of the depth perception with the way the bleachers were, because in most arenas, they're so small that the bleachers kind of behind the basket kind of go straight up. Well, these kind of spread out and they're all over. And so some guys were coming in here going, man, this is like weird.
Maybe we should bring back the curtain just for that reason.
I think so.
Right?
So and then they had 40,000 people in there plus for the All-Star game. And it was John Lucas was a coach one time, and then Pop took over, and then they won the championship. The celebration was probably one of the best memories because we got some of the greatest quotes ever. I mean, when Avery Johnson was Avery Johnson gave us some of the greatest quotes ever from that locker room. One of them was, "Losing is like a bad bowl of gumbo." I will never forget that quote. We were in the locker room interview, and they had, I don't even remember who they lost to. All I remember was just sticking the mic at his face. He goes, Dave, losing is like a bad bowl, in that Cajun accent. Losing is like a bad bowl of gumbo.
Well, he's not wrong.
And then when they were playing the Phoenix Suns and Steve Nash hip checked him, or went after him, and after the game he goes, "I will not be mishandled."
Ooh.
I remember that one.
Remember that one?
Oh, I do. Yeah.
So that two of the best quotes ever. But then just that championship celebration, that was one of the largest crowds to ever be in the Dome.
Yeah.
So
we've been researching that this morning as far as how big of the crowds have been
for attendance-wise.
And it's up there for sure. For that '99 celebration, it was way up there in the top 5, right, Justin?
I believe so.
Yeah.
And tonight's attendance is going to rank up there. The highest I believe that we determined it was Billy Graham back in 1997. There was around 74,000 attendees.
And number 2 was George Strait.
George Strait,
Yeah.
70,000.
So right there. So George Strait and the Spurs.
So big crowd
How do you go
tonight.
wrong with that?
Yeah, nonetheless.
And by the way, people will know, I'm not giving away a secret, George Strait used to have tickets in the Alamo Dome.
Oh.
He even had them at the AT&T Center when they moved in there, but he used to sit at the end under the basket at the Alamo Dome.
Yeah.
George Strait. And he would wear a ball cap, and he'd sit there with his feet crossed, wearing his boots and his jeans, and you wouldn't know it was George Strait unless you knew it was George Strait.
So well, he's like, thanks, David, for giving all my secrets. This is
like back in the Dome.
Well, what if he does it again?
All right, so Warriors, Spurs tonight, 6:30. Get there plenty early. There's park and ride, clear bag policy, in effect, all that stuff. If you're wondering if David Sears, who spent a lot of time in that building, is going back for a homecoming tonight, the answer is
yes. Can't wait to walk in that dome. So it'll be fun just to hear. Want to ask Pop what it feels like to walk back in there. The locker room's not the same. The locker room doesn't even exist anymore.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And then of course, like we said, Steve Kerr was there for the 99 members, the Sean Elliott, kind of what he thinks.
Justin's got a traffic map for us, I believe.
Yeah, if you want to know about parking, obviously the permits there around the Alamo Dome, well, they're gone. So if you're going to be parking tonight, there's a couple of garages the city is offering. It's going to be free between 3 and 6 p.m., but know that these are going to go pretty quick. That's City Tower Garage at 117 West Commerce and St. Mary's Garage at 205 East Travis. You can also do via park and ride from the AT&T Center or Crossroads, which is at 151 Crossroads Boulevard, or you can Uber or have a friend drop you off, whatever it is. But just know there's going to be a lot of traffic down there tonight. We'll be busy around the Alamo Dome as the event gets underway. All right, let's switch over to weather now. We showed you this picture earlier, but I think it's worth showing again. How beautiful is that? Downtown San Antonio, the sunrise this morning, it was a great start. We had some cold temperatures, but now we're off to just a gorgeous day. 45 degrees right now at the airport, 48 Stinson, 45 Kelly, 45 at Randolph. But know these numbers will jump up pretty quickly. We'll probably be in the 50s here by next hour. 50 at 10 o'clock, 56 11 a.m., 59 noontime. And then as we get into the afternoon, 65 degrees by 4 o'clock. And eventually back down into the 40s by tonight. It'll be another cold start. Here is a look at the forecast temperature for tomorrow morning. We're going to start back in the 30s again. We got down to 36 here in town. We'll be down around 36 again. I will tell you that a few spots, just like this morning, also will get down to freezing, albeit briefly, but freeze nonetheless. Bernie, Fair Oaks Ranch, close. Bandera, probably down close to freezing. Kerrville for sure. They got down to 26 this morning. I suspect they'll probably be in the upper 20s again tomorrow morning. It says 31, but I think it could be a degree or two cooler. Dew point trend. Well, we've got some dry air today and tomorrow. Dew points try to increase back on Sunday. So I think we start off with some patchy fog Sunday morning. We get a weak frontal boundary and then dries out just a little bit Monday before we get a stronger front, which looks like that arrives on Wednesday. Hopefully that brings some rain with it. I mean, I'm not terribly hopeful for that, but there is a chance. And then we get the dry air again. We've had these fronts just continuing to come in, but they haven't given us rain, and that's the problem. As we look at the big picture here, it is very quiet across the state of Texas. There is not a cloud to be found. It is clear and sunny, and that'll be the case throughout the afternoon and really through much of tomorrow. If you're going to find any weather, it's going to be on the coasts where you see some showers down around Florida and then some pretty good snow across upstate New York, probably some lake effect going on there as well. And then you go out to the west coast, which has just been pounded by rain, still going on. Still some heavy rain in places like San Francisco and points north where there will be more flooding today. So here's a look at the forecast. That system that is bringing rain in California pushes towards the middle part of the country. Saturday will be just fine here in Texas. As the system approaches, as we get into Monday, it just doesn't push far enough south to really get a good push for a cold front to come through. I think we may see a frontal boundary stall out around the area, but it doesn't do really much for us forecast-wise. It's this next system that's a little bit stronger, digs a little bit further south. That gives us a little better chance for some rain potentially as we look at the forecast here. And I think probably Wednesday morning, a few showers. By Wednesday afternoon, a lot of this is starting to push east. As always, we are on the tail end of things. So I doubt we're going to get a lot of rain out of this, but at least there is a chance there. We need something drastically to change. We need a lot better rain chance than this if we want to dig out of this drought. But there will be some good rain across parts of northeast Texas, some snow on the backside of this. That's next week, though. We're going to get through this weekend, and it's going to be awesome. 67 Saturday, 74 on Sunday. Keep in mind there will be some patchy morning fog Sunday, and then some clouds in the afternoon as humidity increases. That brings those morning lows up. And for Monday, for MLK Day, for the March, it'll be warm. We're looking at 79 right now and partly cloudy. 80 on Tuesday, probably our warmest day, and there's that front with that 20% chance of rain. It looks like mainly Wednesday morning, and that does cool us down some into the upper 60s on Thursday. We'll be right back.
A former NBA player had a blast appearing as a contestant on the game show The Price is Right recently, even won a new car.
But as CNN's Jeannie Mose explains, the question is, can he fit into it?
It's The Price is Right.
They may yell,
"Come on down!"
but this contestant seemed permanently up. Former NBA veteran Jared Jeffries is so tall, the camera had to zoom out.
1980.
To fit him in, he towered over everyone, including the host of The Price is Right. And every time he got something right,
Jared,
he high-fived other contestants like he used to high-five his teammates. Overexcited, especially when he saw this.
you are going to look great in your brand new car!
The price may be right, but the car is tight.
How big are you and how little is it?
I'm 6'11".
Jeffries recalled he recently took an Uber that was a Corolla.
I had to sit sideways in the back seat.
But did that dampen his enthusiasm? Not a bit. Jeffries grew up watching The Price is Right. Just being on the show was on his bucket list. And then he nailed the price.
Yes!
He had to stoop deeply to peer into that Corolla. Jeffries says it was more thrilling than turning pro.
I was genuinely more excited about winning on The Price is Right than I was being drafted.
Though he made millions playing basketball, he told us it's still a kick when someone gives you something for free.
The price may be right, but the car size is a little wrong.
There's no chance I fit in that car. I'm going to give it to my daughter. She can have it.
His teenage daughter, seen here a couple of years ago. You get a special license plate frame from the show.
It says, I won this car on The Price is Right.
So if you see a ruby red Corolla with this on it driving around L.A., give it a toot.
Okay. Hey.
Jeannie Mose, CNN.
Yes.
New York.
Awesome story, Jeannie.
Right? That show's already fun, and this is even more fun.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Also, see, they don't make things for tall people. I'm just saying.
Oh, Justin.
I don't know what you're talking about. Don't know. La. Go ahead.
65 today, sunny skies, 67 coming up tomorrow. Some morning fog on Sunday, and some more great weather coming up next week. I'll be a little bit warm for the March on Monday, 79, 80 on Tuesday.
All right, we have a QR code you guys want to pop up real quick for everything you need to know for going to the game at the Dome tonight. Don't forget, via Park and Ride from the AT&T Center and Crossroads Park and Ride.
That's right. Good luck. Have fun. Have a good weekend.
Go Spurs.